Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I'd like to take a look at a new budget deck from Surging Sparks, which is going to be Crabominable. Now, I know what you're thinking, this card came around in Stellar Crown. Yes, it did. However, it did get a massive buff in this set in the form of Brilliant Blender, which allows you to search your deck for up to 5 cards and discard them. So if you don't know what this deck is all about, it's basically about discarding this supporter card here called Kofu, which by itself is not very impressive. Like, if you have to play one of these because it's the only supporter in your hand, then yeah, fair enough, it's okay, I guess. But for the main part, we just need to discard these in order to pay for the attack cost on Crabominable. So this guy has the attack Haymaker, which does a somewhat impressive, really, 250 damage, and during the next turn this Pokemon can't attack, which is largely irrelevant, frankly, because 160 HP does mean you'll get one-shotted 90% of the time. But you do have the ability Food Prep, which says attacks used by this Pokemon cost 1 colorless less for each Kofu card in your discard pile. So yeah, bit of a story with this list, right? Because I did my best to try and make this work with Bibarel, because Bibarel is my favorite draw engine in the game right now. However, I could not get it to work, like, at all. Like, about 12 games in, I want to say, I was just like, alright, fine, I'll call it quits. So I ended up finding this Gallade list online, played that for a few games, thought it looked strangely familiar, then realized, oh wait, this is actually LDF's list from when he did Crabominable during the Stellar Crown era. So I was like, okay, fair enough, it is LDF's list, but I will try and modify it slightly, to fit kind of like my playstyle and to update it for the new set. So I will leave a link to his list in the description and his video. But, I just wanted to give this deck a go in Standard, just give it a whirl, see what it was like. And honestly, my impressions with this deck are very split down the middle. I think there will be some games where everything pops off, right? Things go well for you. And you start using Haymaker turn 2, 250 damage for 1 water energy. It's perfect. The deck pops off. You can keep up with most decks. You can one-shot things like Terrapagos, Raging Bolt, Life is good and you're a great budget deck. And then the other 50% of games, you prize Kofu, and all of a sudden, you max out at just reducing this attack cost by 1. So then, by 1. So you end up having to fork out like at least 3 or so energy just to use Haymaker, which is pretty brutal. Then, of course, you might prize, the Blender. So then you have to find the Kofus manually to discard them, either with, Kirlia or with Earthen Vessel, which, can be good still. Like, Kirlia is definitely a much better draw engine than Bibarel. I'll happily admit that for this deck is way, way better. So, if you don't like playing Gardevoir, I guess, then this is maybe not the build for you. And you do even have Gallade, which is great because Buddy Catch allows you to search your deck for a supporter card. So if you have to do it, you can find Kofu with Gallade. But, if you're having to find Kofu by turn 3 with Gallade set up, then your list might be doing something wrong. But yeah, honestly, I just think this deck is a very 50-50 situation. And to be honest, budget decks are budget for a reason, I'm not going to lie. But I do think there are better budget decks in Standard, if that makes sense, I think if you really like this deck, if you really, really want to put stuff in the discard pile, you don't want to play United Wings because that just gets trampled by Dragapult and stuff. But maybe you don't want to play United Wings for whatever reason. You don't want to play Dondozo, which might just be maybe a better version of this. I'm not sure, actually. Dondozo does feel weaker because it's doing a bit less damage. But yeah, slightly off topic there. If you do really, really want to play this deck, then sure, why not? Give it a whirl. But at the same time, as budget decks go, I don't think it's that strong. And it's a bit of a shame. But I just think this deck has quite a lot of fairly bad matchups, across the board. Like Fighting type Ogerpon, for example, is pretty bad for this deck. It means you do have to run Constant Clone if you're expecting to play against it. You do have to worry about Frostlass, like that weird Mesprit Frostlass deck that's doing the rounds a bit. Cofagrigus, of course, just absolutely board wipes you, although Cofagrigus is admittedly a lot less popular than Frostlass. You've also got to worry about just decks that are naturally quite tanky, because if you can't, one-shot something at least once per game, then you will struggle to keep up with the prize trade, because you're having to two-shot 2 prize Pokemon. They one-shot you, they're way more efficient, so, you will fall behind naturally. There is some ways to counter this. So LDF had the genius idea of including a TM Crisis Punch, so Crabominable will work with TMs, and Crisis Punch does 280, and you can use this attack only when your opponent has exactly one prize card remaining. So that was quite nice. Actually, let me double check that just a second. Crisis Punch is... Okay, so Crisis Punch is a TM. What is the wording in Food Prep? Attacks used by this Pokemon cost 1 goals less. Because is that the same wording as Diplin, actually? I just want to double check this. I know this should be an outtake already for a video, but I just want to double check this on camera. Festival lead. If Festival Grounds in play, this Pokemon may use an attack it has twice. Okay, because Diplin can't use the TMs. So I'm assuming you can still, use prep work to pay for the TMs. But yeah, don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure you would, but just in case, this list is already playing 2 copies of Reverse Energy. So, if in doubt, I would maybe just say use Reverse Energy to play for the TM. But cool idea that LDF had, to be honest. I think Crisis Punch is honestly really cool. Like, it does let you hit for way, way bigger damage. So, it's just a shame that you can only use it when your opponent has exactly one prize card remaining. But yeah, still pretty cool. Also playing stuff like Leech HQ, which can buy you at least a bit more time against some basic decks, but not too many. Also got Morty in this deck, which is kind of cool. To be honest, I think Morty's uses are getting quite niche just because there's less Area Zero on the ladder, I found at least personally. But that might just be me. If you play against a lot of Area Zero decks, then Morty's Conviction might honestly be more of a 2-of really, or 3-of even. But yeah, quite a nice card. Also, I might add a second switch just to make it a bit easier, but yeah. So if you've seen LDF's video, of course, then you'll recognize the list, really, but just modified it slightly. Cleffa, again, a bit of a liability because, Dusknoir, it's a, it's a bit of a pain. Also, just anything doing any amount of damage, really, KOs Cleffa, so yeah, it's a bit annoying. But if you can switch into it and then just pivot retreat, it's nice, but yeah. So that is Cleffa. Also can find it with Poffin, which, yeah, that's another thing about this deck, actually, is you can't Poffin for these guys, which sucks a lot, frankly. So, yeah, it's a bit rough. So, yeah, no Poffin. Damage isn't quite what it could be. Ability is great, but can be annoying if you prize Kofu or the Blender. Retreat cost is a bit rough because it means you can't just bounce between them to use Haymaker again, so that's annoying. Also, HP is actually really fragile, in this day and age. So, yeah, this doesn't sound like a very positive review of the deck at all. Having said that, I've still really enjoyed playing this particular build. Like, I would definitely not play it anywhere else. I wouldn't, any other way else, I should say. Grammar's terrible today. I wouldn't play this with Barrel again. I wouldn't even play this with Tatsuguri, I don't think. I just think that Kirlia Gallade is certainly the best way to play it. So, cool beans in that frontier. And it's certainly fun. It is fun to play. But, it is very much a 50-50 deck when it comes to win rate. For me, at least, it is. But, yeah, if you've had much better luck with Crabominable or Gallade, or you want to share, like, a list in the comment section, that's absolutely fine. If you say, like, oh, Ember, I've had success with this list, give it a go. I will give it a go. I'll try it. I'll feature it in a video, if I can win games with it. So, I want this thing to be better than it is, basically. Like, I want this thing to work. I really wish we had, like, a choice band for EXs, really, and I don't think we're going to get one until next year at this rate, which sucks. We might get one for Owner's Pokemon, which would be weird, but I feel like we will get one for Owner's Pokemon at this point. I am actually playing Defiance Band, I should say, which will allow you to hit for things like 280 on a Pidgeot, which is quite nice if you go behind on prizes, so you can get 2 prize cards here and there cheekily with a Defiance Band, which is cool. But, aside from that, you don't really have other ways of getting to big numbers. But yeah, bit of a shame in that frontier. Otherwise, I love the deck. Also, you could play Irida. Hadn't thought about this initially, but I might try and modify the deck to play it. So if you don't know what Irida does, you joined in like the Scarlet Violet era. Basically, what this card does is you get to search your deck for a water Pokemon and an item card. So it does mean you can essentially track down the Blender, which is cool. And also just get like any of your stage 1 crabs or Manaphy if you wanted to. And I think if you're playing like Luminion V in this deck, then Irida would be good as well, because you could then Irida for Luminion that you haven't used and then discard Luminion with Kirlia. So, just some food for thought. But yeah, let me know what you think about this list and this deck in general down below. And yeah, thank you for watching. Okay, so my opponent is indeed playing a Terrapagos deck. Now, as to which variant of Terrapagos, I'm not entirely sure. But unfortunately, if they are indeed playing the Bouffalont build, then that will kind of suck because, we won't be able to get a 1-hit KO on Terrapagos. So, yeah, a bit annoying in that sense, but we can really just go ham with this hand and just, set up the board. So, quite nice in that regard. I will get a Crabrawler here. I do have to choose between Arven for Mixer this turn or using Arven for Poffin, which is, yeah, it's definitely going to be a choice. So what I might do is Nest Ball and get another one of these guys down, actually. Yeah, we'll get another one of these. I will get down a Ralts. I think I might just go ahead and get the Mixer now while I still can. And then we'll go from there, actually. Yeah, so we'll get Ralts. I don't think there's any other like useful tools really in this deck, so Arven's a bit of a dud in that sense, a bit of an RIP, but so yeah, we've got one switch in deck, must remember that. I will get Arven for Mixer? Question mark? I thought I saw it. Is it not in the deck? Okay, never mind. I thought Mixer was in the deck for some reason. Okay, my bad. Okay, so we'll get this. Okay, new plan. So yeah, I really thought I had Mixer in the deck. I could have sworn I've just seen it, but okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm delusional now, I guess. So get double Ralts. I could attach an energy. Feels a wee bit pointless, not gonna lie. I'll Defiance Band here, just because we have to like chase down so much stuff really. Although we do have Reversal if we really need. Yeah, okay, I'll just put energy on here. Why not? Yeah, no, why not? So yeah, my opponent has to have at least one more benched Pokemon plus a double turbo. So there's that at the very least, or they could just crisp in. They are seemingly playing Pidgeot EX, which not something I'm too familiar with in a Terrapagos build, but I guess it makes sense if you're running Rotom. So is this actually a Charizard deck that's playing Terrapagos as support? Okay, fair enough. That could get a bit rough for us actually, just because of how bulky Charizard is. At least we two-shot them, but, still feels a bit bad. But we'll be able to Kirlia and then research next turn. It'd be nice if we top deck a Kofu, but yeah, prizing Blender is just a huge bruh moment, to be honest. Like, I definitely feel with this deck, now I'm going to mention this when I get around to recording the deck profile as well, but I definitely feel with this deck that your prizes are just awful most of the time. Like you prize the Blender Mixer card, you prize Kofu's, like the whole thing just kind of crumbles. And it does definitely feel that way with this deck. And I think Dondozo can be, funnily enough, a bit more forgiving because it's a basic. Whereas this deck, it's like you have to commit so many more deck slots just to get the thing working. And though you are doing way more damage than Dondozo, it still feels a bit rough. So, yeah, I'll try Dondozo again as well, by the way. But for Crabrawler, it's a bit like, oof, I could try Crispin maybe, but that doesn't change the fact that we still need ways of finding, like, Kofus to discard. Maybe Luminion could be okay, but Luminion just feels like such a big liability prize-wise. So that's a Pidgeot. That's a bit scary. So my opponent could get an Iono here, which would be a bit unfortunate because I do love this hand, unironically. So unless it turns into 4 Kofu plus research, then yeah, I don't really want them to Iono me here. It's a Poffin. Okay, fair enough. So do they have... I'm guessing they don't play Double Turbo. They could play one Double Turbo, to be fair, just to attack with this occasionally, and also attack with this, I guess, on a whim. But if you're playing Charizard, then I don't think he probably needs Double Turbo, really. So this is probably a Poffin for Hoot Hoot and Charmander. Or something. I have no idea what they're playing, really. Dusclops? Okay, fair enough, yeah. Hoot Hoot, Charmander. Didn't see that coming. No, they don't have a Rare Candy, what am I saying? They do have an Ultra Ball, though, which kind of sucks a bit. Defiance Band, you useless piece of trash. Don't need it. Will Defiance Band this crab, I guess. I guess it could be alright for a one-shotting Pidgeot at some point. So maybe that's how we get some prize cards. But yeah, really just need to kind of pop off this turn. We need a lot, though, to get it rolling. So I've got a feeling he will survive another turn. Okay, this is not terrible, actually. This is not terrible. We will Refinement away the Kofu. So that's a start at the very least. Unfortunately, our attack cost is still, like, ridiculously high, so that's nice, but we have no way of discarding that Kofu, unfortunately. If this had been a quick ball, you know, to discard this, but it's a shame. I'll put the energy on, sure, this guy. I won't bother evolving. There's no point in wasting resources like that. I'll just end turn. So, yeah. So only one Kofu in the discard pile. So this Haymaker attack is costing an absolute staggering 4 energy. And in fairness, if I hadn't attached the water energy there, I could have attached a double turbo. Or could I? No, that still wouldn't have been enough. Yeah, I needed 4 energy for Haymaker, so not 3. So yeah, very expensive attack. You know, very, very expensive. Especially with a downside like that, you know. It's very annoying. Okay, fair enough. Really? My only stadium as well, and you play Jamming Tower to turn off the one thing that's going to let me, like, stay in this game, and you also draw it as well. Really? Okay. Adds certainly a bit of salt on the wound right there. Pretty brutal. Not going to lie. Pretty brutal. Arven, not for Mixer, sadly. Kofu, we could play a Kofu, funnily enough. Like, we could just straight up play it to discard it, but yeah, we kind of need to find the other Kofus, and then we can actually start attacking and, you know, taking prizes. But my opponent will very quickly get Charizard online, which is scary, so they can probably do it this turn very easily. So they can Pidgeot, Noctowl. Noctowl gets the many 2 trainers, broken deck, broken combo. Crabominable can evolve over here, maybe, or this one. Defiance Band, unfortunately, will be useless for the entirety of the game. So, yeah, oh, of course, they printed Terra Orb. I forgot about that. They don't even need Ultra Ball. Like, why did they do this? Like, why did they give them Terra Orb plus Noctowl for Charizard? It's like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't remember Stage 2s in the Sun and Moon era getting this level of support, actually. I really don't. Also, like, Terrapagos just being, like, a tech card in an already very popular deck is quite funny to me. But, yeah. Okay, so they must have a Switch. No, they have an Iono. In an otherwise glorious hand. This match is just awful. This match is just awful. Like, the matchup was pretty bad anyway, but then, like, it's just been one bad thing after another. Okay, fair enough. We do get the Kirlia. We do get the Crab, so we are kind of cooking here. We are kind of cooking. If we don't get the Switch, we can at the very least take 2 prizes here, and that'll be something, right? That'll be something. I think they'll be the only 2 prizes we take this game, but because I don't really want to go into another long game. Like, I just tried to record a long game, but it just went on forever, and yeah, I wasn't a fan of it. Ooh, nice. Okay. So I should punch this, really. I'm a bit stupid if I don't. But also, I kind of just need prizes, and I will have to boss this eventually. So I do think we actually just have to KO Terrapagos here. Fortunately, we do get a lot of, like, refinement stuff to work with for the rest of the game, really. So that's nice. I will use refinement on Ultra Ball because I don't think we need any more stuff discarded. Like, these are all pretty good right now. What am I chasing? I'm chasing Kofus. Right, okay. I'm chasing Kofus and evolved crabs. So rule of thumb is really, if you need two different things, playing Iono is okay. But for me at least, gameplay-wise, maybe it's not a good rule, but if I need one thing, then it's a risk. Two things, yes. Three things, probably should just research. Did the game crash? Did the game actually crash from playing one of them? There's no way. There is actually no way. Really? Are you kidding? Have I lost connection, or is it just them? This is like one of the games. What? Really? Are you kidding me? Nah. I need another break from this game. I had a few days break. You know what? I'm going to take another few days. Yeah, I'm just going to take another few days. This game is going to be recorded for YouTube because, you know, I think people need to be reminded about, like, just the shocking state of this game. So rough. Okay, I'll see you all next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching.